Okay, here's question number one. And I've asked Jay and I've asked Corey. They're also study coaches to have your mics on. Feel free to interject if you have something that you think can be beneficial to students. By all means, do that. But we look at this question, and first of all, I'm sure a lot of you are thinking you haven't even read it yet. You haven't even read the first word, and the first thing that probably runs through your mind is, "Oh my gosh, this looks difficult. There's a whole bunch of reading here. This does not look easy." Don't worry, we're going to help you with that. So, Jason, first of all, I want to let you know why these questions are sometimes wordy, right? It's an application-based exam. And in the real world, when you're dealing with clients, they're not going to just give you exactly the information you need. They don't even know what you need, right? They're going to tell you everything about themselves, their situation, and it's your job as a life insurance agent to be able to pick out what's relevant to the task at hand. Okay, so that's why you'll notice a lot of these scenarios are lengthy. There's a lot of information in there perhaps you don't need to know in order to answer the question, but it's there anyway. So, Jay, I'm going to ask you to help me out with this question. I'm going to ask you to do something that we tell our students not to do. I'm going to ask you to do that. I don't want to do it because I'm the study coach today, and I don't want them to see their study coach doing something that we tell them not to do. But I'm going to ask you to, if you can be the guinea pig, if you will, can you please read this question? Again, we tell our students not to do this, but so we can get a lay of the land, can you read this question starting with the scenario, starting with word one?
Absolutely, Andre. And this says Kumar and Sandeep Gill are married and have two children, Allison, age 10, and Adil, age 7. They met with you to discuss their life insurance needs. You learned that they rely entirely on Kumar's income as a doctor and need a plan to replace his income in the event of his untimely death. They have already established a 3-month emergency fund. In addition, they contribute on a monthly basis to the retirement plans and a registered education savings plan for their children. They worry about what would happen if Kumar or Sandeep passed away before their children's education is fully funded. And the actual question, though, says, what would you recommend to address their concern regarding their children's education?
Thanks, Jason. Okay, so how do we tackle this mammoth question that looks so challenging? I'm going to, first of all, give you the most important acronym in all of LLQP studies. This is something you're going to see again and again as you go through our questions. And that acronym is RTQF. What it stands for is read the question first, right? So find the question mark. It's usually at the end, right? Find the question mark before you get into the scenario and start reading things that aren't relevant. Before you start circling things that don't matter and then get to the question, then you got to read it all over again because half of what you circled is not relevant. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to RTQF. You are going to read the question first. So I'm going to look at this and I'm going to say, what would you recommend to address their concern regarding their children's education? Okay, I know what I'm being asked now. Okay, next, what I'm going to quickly do is you want to look at the answers, right? Real quickly look at the answers. What are they asking me to do here? Are they asking me to recommend a type of policy? In this case, they are. Are there any dollar amounts? No, there's no dollar amounts. So I know as I'm going through the scenario next, I don't have to really worry about the numbers. Okay, so I read the question first. I know what I'm being asked. And now I'm going to do what I call a speed read of the scenario. I'm going to read it fairly quickly, and when they're going on about maybe their emergency fund, that doesn't matter in this case. I'm not going to pay too much attention to it. Okay, Jason, can you move to the next slide, please? Okay, this is a powerful visualization to show you why it's so important to read the question first and do what I just suggested you do. Look at all that information that we've crossed out. It's completely irrelevant. This question could be as simple as they want to make sure their kid's education is funded if either of the parents were to pass away. What would you recommend? That's how simple this question could be. But again, it's more in depth because we need to be able to pick out the relevant information. But by RTQFing and reading the answers, we can shorten the question to as simple as that. They want to make sure that if either parent passes away, that their kid's education is funded. So we know what we're looking at now. Okay. Now here is something extremely important, and I want you to practice this week. Whenever you see a question like this, and they're asking you to recommend a kind of policy, a kind of life insurance policy, I want 3 words to run through your mind before you even look at the scenario. Those 3 words are term or perm. What I mean by that is this a temporary need where term insurance is appropriate, 10-year term, 20-year term? Is this a temporary need or is it a permanent need? Right? It's a temporary need if you can say with certainty this need is going to go away in X number of years. If you can answer that question, then you know it's a temporary insurance need, and you know that term insurance, which is temporary insurance, is appropriate. If it's a permanent insurance need, in other words, you can't say when the need is going to go away, like paying for your funeral at death. Anybody here know when they're going to die? No. Right? Or taxes at death. Anybody here know when they're going to die? No. So those are permanent needs. But temporary needs are ones like we're looking at here, the child's education, right? If you're saving for your kid's education, you know they're going to go to university, or you hope they're going to go to university or college by what? By age 20. So you're going to start a savings plan, right? And by the time they're 20, you have the money. You no longer need the insurance. But if God forbid you die before you've reached that savings goal, that's why we have the insurance. Okay, so we read the question first. We know they're asking us to recommend a type of policy. Next, what ran through our mind is term or perm. Then we looked at the situation. They're talking about their kids' education. Well, they ought to be done saving that for that goal in, say, 20 years. So we have a temporary insurance need. And now we can look at the answers, right? Term to 100, you're going to learn this in the videos if you haven't watched them already, or in the CY Learning Study Guide. Term to 100 is a permanent type of policy. It's the cheapest type of permanent policy because there is no cash value. Whole life insurance, it's got the word whole life in there for your whole life, right? That's a permanent policy. And then universal life insurance, that is the most expensive form of permanent insurance because it's extremely flexible product. So those 3 answers are permanent policies. We have a temporary insurance solution. So we can select the answer D, 10-year renewable term, right? They can go 10 years, and then if they need to renew it, they can renew it. And again, that brings them to the 20 years. And by that point, they should have saved enough for their kids' education. Okay. So Jay, if we can just move to the next slide, I just want to recap what we learned by looking at this question and why it's so important, trying to show you how you can learn so much by practicing. Even if you answered whole life or term to 100, that's okay. We're here to learn. You could read the answer key, and our answer key would explain it to you. So what we've learned by looking at this one question, the most important thing, and I want you to practice this week, is get in the habit of RTQF. Read the question first. Don't start with the scenario. Read the question, look at the answers, know where we're heading with the question, and then you read the scenario. Okay? So RTQF, very, very, very important. You're going to hear that acronym so many times you're going to get sick of hearing it. And then the next thing we learned is if they're asking you to recommend a type of life insurance policy, do not start reading the scenario right away. There are things in the scenarios designed to trick you, to send you down the wrong path. So you need to control your own thinking. And before you read the scenario, you got to ask yourself, I need to know if this is a temporary insurance need where term insurance is appropriate, or I need to know if this is a permanent insurance need where permanent insurance is appropriate. Now that I know that, now I'm going to go into the scenario and read through it and determine what I'm dealing with. Okay. Jason, anything to add?
Andre, I just want to make a quick note. I don't know if everybody's noticed this, but earlier you said that term to 100 is permanent insurance, but it's kind of got the word term in it. So I'm just kind of wondering, why is term to 100 known as permanent insurance when it says term?
Great question. And I thank you for asking that, because I had actually meant to mention that. So thanks, Jay. The reason is this: it's really simple. Okay, with a term to 100 policy, I know it can be a little confusing because it's got the word term in it, but it is a permanent policy. It's term to 100, and what you need to know is what happens at age 100. So if you are fortunate enough to have a life insurance policy, a term to 100 policy, and you're fortunate enough to live to the ripe old age of 100, what happens at age 100 is the policy becomes fully paid up, meaning you don't have to pay any more premiums. So you kind of get a gift on your 100th birthday. You don't have to pay any more premiums, but your coverage stays in place. So even though it's got the word term in there, don't let that fool you. It's term to 100, and it is considered permanent policy. So again, the permanent policies is term to 100. That's permanent. It's the cheapest form of permanent coverage because there is no cash value involved built up within the policy. Whole life is permanent. It's got a cash value. That's why it's more expensive than term to 100. And then universal life is permanent, but it's very, very flexible product, a complicated product, but it's flexible, and it's therefore it's the most expensive. Thanks for that question, Jay.
Good stuff. Thank you.
Okay,
all right, let's move on. Practice question number 2.
Let's move to the next one.